Hey guys, and welcome back. Hope you're all doing awesome today. And it's time for more Entitled People stories, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's get into it. They literally said we are entitled to silence when living in a first-floor apartment. I live in a second-floor apartment with 2 teenagers and 2 cats. An old couple, 75 plus, live below us. The apartments are poorly maintained and not very well insulated. We can hear their TV, can hear them talking, hear when she screams at him, when their 6-year-old spoiled brat grandson comes and throws tantrums, and whenever they open and close their door. Apparently, they have been continually complaining to the landlord about us being very loud. They continually bang on their ceiling when we drop something, or close the bathroom door, which sticks, or heaven forbid I get up at night for any reason. She screamed up the heating vent at me one night when I knocked my water glass off my bedside table. They shout when we walk up the stairs. They have also complained that we use too much water when we shower, which is 100% none of their business. Yes, my cats do run around a bit, but we keep them occupied and take them for walks, and they are pretty mellow as middle-aged cats tend to be. We do not listen to loud TV, the kids listen to music on their headphones. We don't jump or stomp or throw parties. It all came down to the other night around 10:30 p.m. when my son was up late making food, and one of the cats decided it was playtime. Maybe ran around for 3 minutes while my son caught him. Bang, bang, bang on the ceiling. Cat goes in my daughter's room and promptly goes to sleep. The old man comes running up the stairs and bangs on the door. I don't answer because I'm in bed and the cat is put away. Next thing you know, they called the police with a noise complaint. A noise complaint for the cat and my son using the microwave. Police show up. House is dark. I'm in PJs. Cats are asleep in the bedroom. They look at me and say, "You're in bed?" "Yes," I respond. "And what was happening?" they ask. "My son was making food and the cat was running around," I said. "Well, cats and teenagers do that. Is that why they called us?" "Yes." Cop then looks at his partner with the "what the hell" look on his face and says, "Jesus Christ, what a waste of time." Then asked me if I wanted to put in a complaint for harassment. Next day, the old lady shouts across the parking spots, "We are entitled to silence whenever we want silence. You are obnoxious and rude, and I am going to get you kicked out of here." The landlord calls and is pissed, says they have been continually complaining about how loud we are, and it's ruining their quality of life, and we needed to keep it down. So I told him what they were complaining about, and that I am out in 60 days, and if they call again, I will make a complaint of harassment, because this is stupid. His response, "Okay, no problem." Note that 95% of them complaining has to do with regular daytime living noise. Occasionally something after 10, but rarely. They are somehow entitled to silence at all times? In a crappy first-floor apartment? Right. I hope whoever moves in after I leave has small kids, and plays loud pop music, and does exercise videos in the living room. You know, I get wanting to have peace and quiet, but there are some things that you just need to tolerate and live with. Especially if you're in a place like this with thin walls and bad insulation. In those kinds of situations, there's really not much you can do about it, beyond expecting your neighbors to tiptoe and whisper in their own home. Karen slips at Goodwill and breaks her glassware, threatens to call corporate. This didn't happen to me, but someone I know who works for Goodwill. This happened over Memorial Day weekend, mostly paraphrased. So my friend works for Goodwill and he was ringing up customers. In comes Karen. She has a bunch of glassware that's super cheap already. Talking like some pieces being 77 cents USD. But that's not good enough. She demanded from my friend to get more of a discount on the already discounted items. "No, I am sorry, we cannot lower the prices more than they already are." Karen asks for a manager, as Karens usually do. "I'm sorry, ma'am, my manager wouldn't be able to lower them either." Karen grumbles some more, but not without making a scene. She completes her transaction with my friend. She then goes to the exit and sees that it is raining. "Stop raining," she yells. The entire store looks at her. Karen then proceeds to attempt to run to her car in the rain, but she slips and falls, most likely screaming in the process. After a couple of minutes, she gets back up and comes back inside. "I want a refund. All of my items are now broken and I can no longer use them." "Ma'am, Goodwill sales are final. No returns or refunds. You left the store." "But I didn't even leave the store's premises. I just went outside the doors." You exited the store, you went out the doors. Therefore, you left the store. No refunds. I'm calling corporate. Okay, you still cannot get a refund, ma'am. Defeated, presumably, Karen just leaves, with her broken glassware. Oh well, maybe don't run in the rain next time. Male Karen can kiss my ass. As a photographer, I run into a lot of Karens. Last month, I ran into my first male Karen, Ken. I was hired to shoot a house in a college town. In this town, it's not unusual to have children or college students come up and ask what I'm doing. That day was different. I pulled up in front of the house and noticed a male neighbor and his teen son unloading a van. I got out of my car and took a shot of the front of the house and the for sale sign, then started walking towards the side closest to the Karen, assuming they would ask questions, so I could get that part out of the way first. He just stared at me. So I started walking towards the backyard. I shot the rear and proceeded to the other side. As I came around the front again, he started walking towards me, saying that the owner told him to tell anyone taking pictures that it wasn't allowed, and he was authorized to tell me to get off the property. Interesting, I thought, as it was the owner that hired me to do just that, take pictures. I looked back and told him so. He immediately denied that. The owner would have told him about me in advance. Note, the property was under contract for sale, as the sold notice on the for sale sign indicated. The property had not yet been transferred to the new owner, and as a neighbor, he had no right to tell me anything about his new neighbor's property. He got angry and said if I didn't leave, he would call the police. I simply smiled and told him if that's what he thought he should do, have at it. The look on his face was priceless. At that point, I walked up to the front door, took out my key, and went inside. As I went in, he tried to follow me inside. I shut and locked the door behind me. If looks could kill, I'd have been taken away in a casket. As I was shooting the interior, he followed me around outside with his phone, taking video of me working. Every now and then, I'd smile and wave at him from inside. As I was leaving, he waited by the front door for me, still taping me. He said he had called the police and that I should wait for them to arrive. At that point, I was done. I smiled, told him if he hadn't already to take pictures of my license plates, and the police could call me if they had any questions. Then I took a picture of him. I find it amazing that people like this think it's okay to take your picture but demand that I could not do the same. He was pissed. An hour later, I got a call from a very apologetic police officer. He seemed embarrassed to say why he'd called, so I asked if it was because he'd spoken to a Karen on such and such street. He started cracking up and said yes. Apparently, Karen had demanded I be arrested, jailed, beaten into a pulp, etc. He said he spent the better part of that hour trying to explain that it wasn't illegal to take pictures, that if I had a key to get in and hadn't done any damage, I was probably doing exactly what I had told him I was, a photographer, and that he was calling me as a formality. We both had a good laugh, and he asked if I intended to go back to the property in the future. I said that depends on whether the client hired me again. Karen or Ken wasted some of my time, the police's time, and probably raised his blood pressure quite a bit in the process. I love my job. Am I the a-hole for calling the police on my boyfriend's family? Last year I moved in with my boyfriend and his dad. My boyfriend and I were in a long-distance relationship for a few years, and I moved across the country to be with him after I finished graduate school. Due to such a large distance, I opted to sell my car and buy a new one after moving. When I did this, my boyfriend helped me out by loaning me some money to help pay the down payment, but I have since paid him back. Last week, my boyfriend's older sister, who lives in another state, came to visit and stayed in the house with us. This was my first time meeting her, and I thought she was very nice, but I didn't get to know her well. 2 days ago, my boyfriend and I were out running errands together, and his sister called him to ask when he would be back, so she could borrow his car to go hang out with her friends in a town about an hour away. He told her it would be a while, and she then asked if it was okay to borrow my car. My boyfriend asked me, and I told him I was not comfortable with that and to tell her no. My boyfriend did tell her no. I heard the entire conversation. Well, a few hours later, my boyfriend and I got home, and my car was gone. I was shocked, and my boyfriend was confused. When we went into the house, his dad informed us that he gave my boyfriend's sister the spare key to my car that was in the lockbox because she said she needed to go somewhere. My boyfriend told him that she asked to drive my car and that we had told her no, so he didn't understand why she was allowed to take it. And his dad said that since my boyfriend helped pay for the car, that it therefore was partly his, which meant his sister had the right to drive it as well. I was absolutely livid, and I couldn't believe that anyone would do something like this. My name is the only one on the title, insurance, etc., as I am the sole owner. My boyfriend told his dad to call her and tell her to bring my car back immediately, and she said she would be home soon. Well, after 2 hours, I called the police and reported my car stolen, because I was worried that if it got damaged or something, then I would be forced to pay the repairs, even though it wasn't my fault. My boyfriend's dad and sister were pissed about this, and they accused me of trying to get them arrested. They are now demanding that I apologize to them and tell the police it was all a misunderstanding, but I really don't want to because I feel that they've tried to take advantage of me. My boyfriend agrees with me, but he even said he thinks calling the police to report the car stolen may have been too far. Am I the a-hole? NOP elaborates a bit more in the comments, saying, I did not call 911 or emergency services. I called the police department directly through their non-emergency line to ask to file a police report. They said they would send someone, and by the time the police officer arrived to our home, his sister had been back for about 30 or so minutes. My car was not damaged and everything on it was fine. So I just explained to the officer the situation, and he asked if I wanted to press charges, and I said no. The sole reason I wanted to file a police report was in case something on my car was damaged, and since it wasn't, I believed it wasn't necessary to take it any further. The police officer talked to his sister and left. She won't be getting arrested, charged, etc. However, his dad and sister are still insisting I tried to have them arrested, which is why they're demanding an apology. I have also seen a lot of comments asking me why I didn't want her to use my car, and the simple answer is because I don't know her. We had only just met, and I simply did not feel comfortable giving my car to someone I don't know well. People are calling me selfish for that, and everyone is entitled to their opinion, but honestly, I disagree. Further, I have both my keys now. I will make sure no one besides my boyfriend or I ever are able to get them again. Consider that lesson learned. Also, for everyone advising me to move out, my boyfriend and I have discussed it, and we are currently searching for an apartment we can move into within the next few weeks. My boyfriend asked his dad would he be kicking us out, and his dad told him he wouldn't, but we both aren't really willing to take his word on this. I don't think OP really did anything wrong here at all. I think I'm assuming she's a she, was completely justified in deciding to get the police involved. Her boyfriend's sister was told that OP wasn't okay with it, and she still went ahead and did it anyway. And like OP said, she just wanted to make sure that she was protected by the law if there was damage to her car. So she was just covering her own ass for the worst case scenario. Especially because she could have pressed charges and she didn't, so obviously she wasn't just trying to get them arrested. So no, OP, you don't owe them an apology. They owe you one. That's the way I see it. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, it really helps me out, and also subscribe to the channel for more. So I'm out of here. Have an awesome day, and until next time.